Welcome back, everybody. It's good to be back with you. Here we are again with another Wednesday devotion. I've been thinking a lot, especially these last few days, coming off the weekend where we had the time change, and about how somehow we've just taken 60 minutes and we just whisk it away. And then in the spring, we bring it back. And I'm thinking psychologically, how are we doing that? How are we just taking an hour of our time and manipulating it back and forth? So then that's led me to be thinking a lot about the concept of time, which then, of course, leads me to Ecclesiastes 3. You know these words. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time for war, and a time for peace. Time. There is time for everyone, which leads me to thinking about this. Time is the one equalizer. It is the one commodity that everybody has the same amount of. Each person has 60 minutes in their hour, they have 24 hours in their day, they have 7 days in their week. What we do with our time shows what we value, how important it is to us, and what we do with our time, how we fill it, what we use our time for and with whom we spend it, with what we're doing with those people or in those activities. But time is the one commodity that everybody has the same amount of from hour to hour. What do you do with your time? Because it's so valuable, it's so important. Everybody says that my time is so important, and it is. Our time is so important. So a couple things come to my mind is the fact that when we are engaged together in God's community, it is it is priceless because there's no other opportunity, there's no other occasion in our day-to-day life where we can gather together as God's faithful people, valuing our time, using our time to worship God, to give God glory, and for our good. And so when we are together in our time together, it is never wasted. God's faithful people gathering together in worship, in study, in our communal efforts for our neighbors, it is never wasted time. It is always blessed, holy time. But that's why this concept of just willy-nilly taking an hour and going backwards in the fall and forwards in the spring seems so odd and abstract to me because it is so valuable to us to have that. And so to just play around with it seems odd nonetheless. But we talk about engagement. We talk about being engaged in our lives. We talk about being engaged in our faith community and reaching out. And we've been talking about reaching, teaching, and serving, which is always our mission here in this place. That everything that we do together should stem from a place of reaching, teaching, and serving. And it has, and it does, and it always will, because first off, God is in this place. God is always first and foremost in our lives. We proclaim Christ Himself crucified, and we allow the Spirit to encourage us and to set us loose with gifts. So, we've been talking about the last few weeks, we've been talking about the backpack blessings, we've been talking about embracing neurodiversity, we've been talking about maintaining ministry excellence, And then we've made an appeal to you. And we talk about money here in a positive way. There is nothing wrong when we use our gifts, all of the gifts of time, talents, and treasures that God has given us to maintain our ministries and to maintain ministry excellence and to identify ways that we can be good neighbors to one another. And so we've asked you, we talked about it. We're collecting our intentions. You got the mailer asking about your prayerful consideration. It always has to be a prayerful consideration. And so we think about it. We have an honest, prayerful consideration with the gifts that God has given us. And then we can say, I think I can do this on behalf of the ministries of Emmanuel. And so we are thankful for you. And most importantly, we're thankful for your engagement because we understand that family circumstances happen, life circumstances happen. Sometimes we increase our giving and sometimes we have to decrease our giving, and sometimes our giving stays the same and sometimes our giving fluctuates. That's just the honest reality of the time of our life from day to day, week to week, month to month. We understand that. And we are so thankful for your engagement. The fact that you will take time to prayerfully consider it and to let us know, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because in this whole list of things that Ecclesiastes talks about, there is a time to say we need help, and then there's a time to also say thank you for the help that we have been given. And so we do that for you. We thank you for your engagement. We thank you for your participation. We thank you for the fact that you listen to God and you become involved and participate in the ministries in the life of this congregation. That is good when God's people are together. I tell you that every week. That's not just lip service. You stop and you think about that. It is good when God's people gather together for God's glory and for our good. You tell me how that's bad. There's nothing bad about that, but it is always good. So, blessings to you for your time, your talents, your treasures. Everything under the season, there is a time for. God has bestowed that upon us. And so blessings to you on your time and your time together with us, your time together with family and friends, your time together with family and friends and neighbors here in this place for the good of God's creation. So, as always, we're thankful for you and all that you give us. So, speaking of time, I want to go over some calendar events, things that are going to happen in the next few days. I want to make you aware of it. So, the blessings of tradition and deer hunting service are tomorrow. That's Thursday, November the 11th. We're also giving thanks for our veterans. That's at 6:30. There's soup to follow. You all are invited. So we understand that some of you don't deer hunt, but maybe perhaps you have other traditions that you've started or been handed down, and we want to know why they're important to you. So that's what we're going to do with that service on November the 11th at 6:30. We're going to have special music. So we're going to bless the traditions. We're going to bless the safety of the deer hunt. We're going to have some food and fellowship to follow. You're invited to be part of that. Then coming up on Sunday, services at 8 and 10:30. There is going to be a fraud protection presentation at 9:15 in between services. You're invited to be part of that. The Faith Connections kids are going to sing at the 8 a.m. service. And then also we will remember our veterans at both the 8 and 10:30 worships. Grief Shares Surviving the Holidays is Sunday afternoon, 1 to 3 here at the church. Please RSVP so we make sure we have plenty of supplies, things that we need for the day. Call the church. Please let us know that you're coming so we can be part of that. And then the other events that are coming up, of course, we're preparing for Thanksgiving Eve, Wednesday the 24th 4th. That's at 6:30. We're having an ecumenical Thanksgiving service, pie social. If you want to bring a pie, there's going to be sign up for that. And then also Christmas by Candlelight is coming up. That's in December. Sign up for that. I want to make you aware of how our time together is blessed and all of the things that are coming up in these next few days. So as always, if you have any questions, please check social media. Don't be afraid to call us. Let us know what questions you might have. We'd be glad to help you. If you still are prayerfully considering your cards of intention to reach, teach, and serve, we're still collecting those. We have some days left, and quite frankly, we want you to be able to have the time you need to become engaged. So do what you need to do and prayerfully consider that. We're thankful for that. So as always, tell somebody that Jesus loves them and invite someone to worship with you at the big church on the corner. Go in peace to love and to serve the Lord. Thanks be to God.